Hey, it's Jeremy Osterberger at BIC Magazine. We're here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum, hosted by the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region. I'm with Tim Sutherland. He's General Manager for Chevron Pasadena Refinery. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, Tim, you just got off stage. A lot of folks that may not know a little bit about you, Tim. California kid, made it over to Texas. How'd you get here?
Just more and more responsibility, basically, like we talked about at the deal. Started as an engineer and really was working towards inspection and all the engineering functions in the place, and I just kind of kept getting drug over to leadership and just really a succession of jobs. I've also moved 5 times, so I've been in California twice, Utah, and Mississippi, so I've actually worked in all of our wholly owned facilities. So it's just really a responsibility progression, basically.
And Tim,
Texas is where we're at.
Yeah, sure. Tim, you have a strong mechanical background. You know, the Pasadena refinery is 100 years old, you know. Tell us about how that background helps you operate that site.
Yeah, I think that that facility, I mean, basically Petrobras's business plan was to sell it, and so it was on the market for 7 years. And so I think that what I found coming there is the place was compliant with the rules, but it definitely needed investment. So, anyways, that's what we've been doing is just systematically working through the systems, working through prioritization, and fixing stuff. It's just kind of that easy. So that's where my background's really been. I think it was a very good match. Rather than somebody to optimize an existing mature facility, really to build it back, if you will.
And how long ago did Chevron acquire the refinery?
So we started operating in May of 2019. So it's been a little over 3 years.
Tim, on stage here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum, you mentioned an investment, $400 million. Can you tell us about that investment and what is the scope of that?
Yeah, so it's really 2 pieces. We've simplified the facility. We're actually going to ultimately shut a couple of the older plants down, and then we're going to reutilize some of that equipment. So it's a big piping job. So again, our emissions are going to be reduced in the facility. We're going to change the product slate a little bit, but it really simplifies the facility, but again, makes it safer. It's going to make it more environmentally friendly and more reliable.
Where are we at with that project now?
So we just about have the 90% model done. So basically the engineer, I believe I was told yesterday that we should be largely out of the engineering house by the end of this year. So we're starting to do foundations and some of the civil work.
Great. Thanks for the update on that, Tim. Yeah. Give us more in the future.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you talked about safety. The site has a strong safety record. To what do you attribute that success?
Yeah, I think, so number one, we brought contractors in that we have worked with in the past. And so, there were really only 3 Chevron people that when we first purchased the place, there were really only 3 of us. And so that's obviously changed over time. But early on, we brought the contractors in, the mechanical contractors that we've dealt with in other facilities, some on the West Coast, some in Pascagoula. And so like a couple of our site managers, I've actually worked with other places. So relationship, one thing, there's the safety is an interesting deal because what I've learned is people make mistakes. And so punishing people for making mistakes, it's an old school mentality. They're not trying to make mistakes. But on the other hand, people have to follow the rules. So I think it's maintaining a sense of vulnerability. I think it is being willing to hold people accountable if they willfully violate the laws. But then really being open-minded and saying, hey, something bad happened, recognize it, but why? And how can we make sure that doesn't happen again? So, if that makes sense, these are very serious businesses, and there's a lot of potential negative consequence. So again, I think it's finding that balance.
Yeah. No, thanks for the insight on safety, Tim. That's interesting. So, Tim, let's talk about the future. I'll wrap up with that question. Everyone wants the crystal ball. So where is Chevron Pasadena Refinery headed? And I don't know, what do you expect to see over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously making a substantial investment. We're basically doubling the capital employed of the place. And so, we're here. And I think that we're From my perspective, I don't know that. I think what's starting to change is in my career, we've always looked at these refineries as pure, forever legacy facilities, and I think that our horizon's starting to pull in a little bit and realize that these places, these big sites, will probably be here for a very, very long time, but we're being open-minded about how they may change. So Pasadena specifically, though, we're gonna work on making it a safe, reliable, and ultimately profitable business, so it'll be here. And then the next phase will be really about carbon intensity. So, how can we improve our energy intensity? Potentially, how can we go do projects that either connect to renewables? But again, the focus today is to complete this project, do it safely, and reconfigure that facility so it's competitive.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining BIC Magazine. I appreciate you hanging out.
Of course, yeah.